Welcome back, Space Cadets. This is Space Exploration News, where we bring you the latest and greatest from the final frontier without the hype. I'm your host, Carlos Munoz Kampf, and today we're going to be covering a new supernova that's visible in the night sky. Rocket Lab continued success. Big news for Blue Origin, finally. Some bad news for SpaceX and the environment. Huge fallout there from the Starship launch. And to end on a sweet note, though, we have huge orbital colony news, which we will be covering shortly. As usual, all of this information is in the script that you can access on the website, and that will be linked in the YouTube video below. But now for the moment that you've been waiting for, the Space Exploration News soundtrack. All right, so right into the news. So yeah, this supernova is closest to Earth in a decade, and it's visible in the night sky. Let me turn this thing off. You can see it right there. They have this cool little animation here. So you can see April 21st, no shining dot, and then May 21st, right there, supernova. During the last few days, astronomers have been pointing their telescopes toward a familiar celestial object in our spring night sky for a look at the rare event, a new supernova, a star that has literally and figuratively burst upon the scene. This new supernova has appeared in a galaxy, a star city, beyond our own. The galaxy is known as the Pinwheel Galaxy. Look how it looks like a pinwheel. Really cool. Also designated as Messier 101 or M101, and is a large, loosely wound, spread out, open-faced spiral galaxy which can be viewed through a small telescope with proviso if the sky is dark enough. You would need a wide field of view and a low-powered eyepiece to positively see it. Very cool. All right, let's move on to Rocket Lab. We covered, I don't know if it was the last episode or the one before that they had a successful launch from New Zealand, and now they're on to their second launch. After successful launching the first pair of satellites early this month from New Zealand, NASA and Rocket Labs are now targeting no earlier than 12 a.m. this Thursday, just 2 days from now, to launch the second pair of storm tracking CubeSats into orbit. Rocket Lab will provide live coverage beginning approximately 20 minutes before launch. Coverage will air on NASA television, the NASA app, the agency's website, and Rocket Lab's website. Tropics is a constellation of 4 identical CubeSats designated to observe tropical cyclones from low Earth orbit, making observations more frequently than current weather tracking satellites. Gathering data more frequently can help scientists improve weather forecasting models and save lives and help in many ways. So a good job, Rocket Lab, on that. Even better job for Blue Origin. So they just got signed for Artemis 5. So that's the 5th mission to the moon. So let's get into it. To develop a human landing system for the agency's, NASA's, Artemis 5 mission to the moon, NASA has selected Blue Origin of Kent, Washington, aka Blue Origin related to Amazon. Through Artemis, NASA will explore more of the moon than ever before, uncovering more scientific discoveries and preparing the future astronaut missions to Mars. Blue Origin will design, develop, test, and verify its Blue Moon lander to meet NASA's human landing system requirements for recurring astronaut expeditions to the lunar surface, including docking with Gateway, a space station where crew transfer in lunar orbit. In addition to design development work, the contract includes one uncrewed demonstration mission to lunar surface before a crewed demo on Artemis 5 mission in 2029. The total award value of the firm fixed price contract is $3.4 billion. I'm sure Jeff Bezos is smiling right now. The agency previously contracted SpaceX to demonstrate an initial human landing system for Artemis 3. Under that contract, the agency also directed SpaceX to evolve its design to meet agency's requirements for sustainable exploration and to demonstrate the lander on Artemis 4. As a result of the contract with Blue Origin to demonstrate Artemis 5, a lander that meets these same sustainable lander requirements, including capability for increased crew size, longer mission duration, and delivery of more mass to the moon, multiple providers will be available to compete for future opportunities to fulfill NASA's lunar surface access needs for Artemis missions. Okay, very cool. We'll be staying tuned for that development. I know the Blue Origin team had, put a lot of passion into creating these lunar lander project, or whatever you want to call it, designs, and there was a huge setback. I think it was a few years ago where they didn't get the contract for Artemis 3 and SpaceX got it instead. And so it's great to see that they're now getting that contract for Artemis 5. So everyone gets to go to the moon. Very cool. All right, here we go. Let's move on. Maybe not everyone, but I'm glad that they're that their efforts are bearing fruit. So here we go. SpaceX is joining FAA to fight environmental group Starship's lawsuit. Okay, so there's no good spin on this. It's sad all around. Okay, as you saw in the last episode of Space Exploration News, and probably just saw elsewhere, there was a launch of this Starship, the SpaceX Starship, which is the biggest spaceship ever. And, it was successful in that it took off, but it was not successful in that it crashed and created a bunch of debris. And that's very sad for the environment. It's also very sad for the mission. And now there's a lawsuit, which could be a huge financial hurdle for SpaceX. So let's get into the details here. Let me approve this. Sorry. SpaceX is joining the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, to fight a lawsuit brought by environmental groups, according to media reports. That suit, which was filed on May 1st, claims that the FAA didn't properly assess the damage the SpaceX giant Starship rocket could cause to the environmentally sensitive land surrounding its South Texas launch site. The FAA approved 20 Starship launches annual for the next 5 years. That's actually pretty amazing. From Starbase, SpaceX facility near Boca Chica Beach on Texas Gulf Coast. Remember 420 was then when they did the first launch. I don't know if they planned it on 420, but it worked out. But it suffered several problems that impelled SpaceX to send a self-destruct command. So they tried to do the self-destruct command. It did not work right away. And eventually the rocket exploded high over the Gulf of Mexico about 4 minutes after liftoff. So it was basically a giant mess. It's a 33 Raptor engines on the Starship's first stage boosters, known as Super Heavy, kicked up a huge cloud of dust and other debris during launch. Some of the material rained down on the surrounding area. So this was in a lawsuit. Important habitat for imperiled wildlife, including pippin plovers, northern Aplomado falcons, and Gulf Coast jaguarundi, ocelots, and critically endangered sea turtles. So that is just very sad news, for the environment. Absolutely. But on the other hand, it could also be really a huge setback for space exploration in general, and that's really sad as well. So if the court were to rule in plaintiff's favor, the FAA's decision could be set aside, and further licensing for Starship Super Heavy program could be significantly delayed, causing severe injury to SpaceX's business. So, what do you guys think? Let me know. In the comments, what do you guys think about this? I'm of two minds. Like, on one hand, I'm all for space exploration, as you know, and on the other hand, I think it's important to protect the environment. So, is there a way to do both? Is there a way to find a compromise? Is there a way to create greater safety with these rockets if they fail, so that something like this doesn't happen again? Obviously, many lessons learned, but you can't learn those lessons unless you try, and we are not going to be able to go beyond Earth without taking risks. But also at the same time, we can't just wreck the Earth either. So what do we do? So yeah, leave your comments in the video, and I'll check them out, and we can have a conversation about this, because I really care about both things. I care about the animals, and I care about space. So yeah, this is a tricky subject for sure. There's no sugarcoating it. Okay. I do want to move on to the last news. I told you I'd leave you with a sweeter ending here, and we are talking about this cool space station that was just announced. Sorry that the highlight color looks weird here, but this is from the SpaceX website. SpaceX to launch vast commercial space station and first human spaceflight mission. Vast announced today that SpaceX will launch what is expected to be the world's first commercial space station, known as Vast Haven 1, quickly followed by 2 human spaceflight missions to said space station. Scheduled to launch on a Falcon 9 rocket to low Earth orbit no earlier than August 2025. Haven 1 will be fully functional independent space station and eventually be connected as a module to a larger Vast space station currently in development. Vast's long-term goal is to develop a 100-meter long, multi-mode spinning artificial gravity space station. So really one of those orbital colonies where it's spinning and creating artificial gravity so you could walk around inside of it. Launched by SpaceX's Starship transportation system. In support of this, Vast will explore conducting the world's first spinning artificial gravity experiment on a commercial space station with Haven 1. Very, very cool. This new partnership between Vast and SpaceX will continue to create and accelerate greater accessibility to space and more opportunities for exploration on the road to making humanity multiplanetary. Love it. Okay, again, here's the script. Take a look. Sign up for our newsletter. We're not sending it out yet, but, join the newsletter as soon as we get our act together to have that for you. We will. Let me know also what you think of the new Space Exploration News song. I wrote that using Ableton Live and a cool plugin called MIDI Guitar 2, which allows you to play synthesizers with your guitar. So I played it note for note on my guitar. I programmed the drums myself. So yeah, I want to hear what you think, and as always, see you soon.